What's up, everyone? Today we're going to talk to one of my good friends, Keval Shah from Twitter. Now, one of the craziest things from this guy, Keval, is he's making 7 figures with just a Calendly link and just a bunch of game on SEO. We talk about life, we talk about how to get inbound clients, we talk about how to retain clients, and just how to make more money from your Twitter. So with no further ado, let's get right into it. I saw a tweet of yours. You said you outranked Nike for like joggers a while ago. You posted this a while ago.
Yeah. That was in the US. It was like this brand called Alpha Clothing that I used to work with. And yeah, like men's joggers, gym tank tops, like all that stuff is like above Nike and like Under Armour and stuff. Or maybe not Under Armour, definitely above Nike. I have to see where they are now though.
Do you think that the people who work with you are more attracted to these kind of wins that are like super, they're amazing, right? Or like more like the conservative wins that are not as big as that one, but are more relatable still?
I think they're attracted to the big stuff, to be honest. I think people get really excited when they see that it's possible to outrank those big sites, just because I feel like, people just don't realize you can do it. People look at the search results and they see Walmart and Nike and Amazon and they're just like, okay, like what's the point of doing SEO? We can't get on the first page. And like, I guess what I'm trying to show people is like, yes, you can. I've done it before. We could do it with you. There is a very distinct approach that we can take to make it happen that a lot of people just aren't very good at, and I have results to show for, right? That we can do it. So I think that's the main reason it's attractive. I mean, of course, like some of those smaller keywords are probably better, honestly, to target. And I always tell clients that we should target those like kind of smaller, more granular keywords in a lot of cases, because it's not like when you're trying to outrank Nike, it's not like, okay, it's going to happen, right? There is a lot of other factors at play that you need to kind of work out. So it's definitely a safer bet to go after those kind of smaller keywords. But I think for me personally, when I'm just showing people what I can do, I like showing them the big stuff just so that we know. I can show them like, yeah, we can do this, but then like if we target the smaller stuff, like we can definitely do that, right? Because it's like way less competitive. If we use the same strategy that helps us outrank Nike, we're definitely going to get #1 for like those smaller keywords that are a little bit more specific and catered towards your product.
I've noticed that too. Sometimes when I post testimonials, it's not the relatable testimonials or even the money, it's the person you're doing it for, right? So I
Yes.
got one testimonial from Jose Rosado, and I used
Yeah.
that like over and over and over and over again, and people were like, because they know that name, they associate you with like quality. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's so important to crush it for people kind of in this space with notoriety. Like I think that's one thing that helped me a lot, was just working with like big people in the space, like Daniel, Cold Email Wizard, right? Alex, Closify. Um, I've worked with, who else have I worked with? I worked with Dickie Bush. Um, the list goes. I mean, there's so many people from Money Twitter, e-commerce guys that I've worked with that we've done really good work for. And then also when these guys refer you clients and you crush it for their friends, like it's the same thing, right? You kind of have that notoriety.
It, I don't know if you remember this, dude, but like a year ago or so, like I knew the work you did, and I wanted to hire you, right? But
Yeah.
and we got on a call, but I was like oblivious to SEO. I didn't know like anything about it, and I told you like, Kevin, what are some results I can expect in like a month or two? And you're like,
Yeah.
dude, this doesn't work that way. Like, chill.
No. It doesn't. It's because I remember you guys were trying to exit fast, right? And that's why I
Yeah.
didn't push you guys. You probably noticed that like we jumped on a call and then like I think I messaged you guys like one more time after that. But then I was kind of like, kind of do what you guys need to do, because in my mind, like I knew I could crush it for you guys, but you guys were on a different timeline than most people. You guys were trying to exit fast, so I was like, maybe SEO isn't great, because like could I have gotten you results in one to 2 months? Like looking back in hindsight, probably, but I will never say that to a prospect. I will never set those types of expectations. I will always set expectations of 6 to 12 months, and if they see results in 1 to 2 months, then they get super excited. But I can never promise something like that.
That's right. And I think this is great for retention because it's like your service, something I like really like about that, it's so sticky because you were upfront about the length of the deliverable. Is that is
Yeah.
that like is that like important for you in the business to be like, yeah, dude, this is gonna take like 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, because sometimes it does. Sometimes it takes a year to really start seeing traction because especially for you guys, you were a brand new business, right? You guys didn't have the notoriety that you guys have today. And so it's really important for me when I'm kind of setting those expectations to make sure guys realize that there's a chance it could take 6 to 12 months, and I don't want people coming in and me saying, okay, maybe 3 months, and then 3 months hit, and they're saying what's going on, then the trust is lost, right? And then we don't get to like really show what we can do. You know what I mean? We look bad, on our part. So it's super important that I set those expectations so people stick around long enough for me to show them, the results that we can actually drive.
Yeah.
A great example, another guy I work with a lot is Luca Netz on Twitter. I did SEO for his Gel Blaster brand. We absolutely crushed it. And, we're about to start on, Pudgy Penguins right now, which is like his NFT project. And I think he approached me about 6 or 8 months ago and he said, hey, can we get SEO done for this brand? And I was just upfront with him. I'm like, look, man, you guys, it's a new project. Like, these keywords are pretty competitive. I don't know if it's something we can do. And I was honest with him. I was straight with him. And he was like, okay, that makes sense. And he just reached back out a month ago and he said, hey, what about now? And I was like, honestly, man, you guys blew Pudgy Penguins the fuck up. Like, this is a legitimate brand now. You guys are already ranking for keywords without us doing anything. It's a great opportunity for us to come in and make some moves. So we're going to get started with them here in a couple weeks or so. And so like if I was dishonest, right, and I started 8 months ago and I was like just trying to get the paycheck, I would have ruined that relationship, right? And that's what a lot of SEO agencies do. They'll just take people on and they'll just see what happens. They get that recurring money, but that's just not how I operate. I try to be very upfront with people and be honest about what I think I can achieve for them. And if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. But that doesn't mean that it can't come back later down the road when maybe their business is in a better position for the services.
Dude, that detachment that you're mentioning right now is like so important because once you say no, people sometimes come back. Like, we just signed 2 clients that I met 3 years ago. Like, we've been interacting for 3 years, and I've could have told them about the program before, but sometimes people just come when the timing is right for them. Like, just because a prospect tells you no doesn't mean like they're disqualified. It's just maybe the wrong timing. And maybe you started at the same time some other SEO guys started, but because they dropped off, like the only person in their mind was you, and that's why you got the sale, because you stuck long enough.
Yes. No, man, you're absolutely. I mean, I close deals from like a year ago. Sometimes I'll talk to a prospect, and either I'll say now's not a good time, or they'll say, hey, now's not a good time, and I don't push people. Like I'm not like a closer. You know what I mean? Like, when I get on these calls with people, like I just try to be genuine and show them what I can do. And sometimes I'm like, hey, I can't help you, or sometimes they're like, now's not a good time, and I say, okay, see you later. No big deal. I'm not gonna start bringing those pain points out and say, oh, well, like how is this gonna affect your family and stuff like that. And I know like they teach that in sales, but I don't do that, right? And so people leave sales calls with a good taste in their mouth after they talk to me because I'm not pushy. And then 6 months or 12 months down the line, when they're ready, they come back and out of the blue, boom, you just get a client, right? It's like, it's not even, oh, let's jump on a call to see if it's a good fit. It's, oh, we're ready, send the invoice, let's go. So I take like kind of a different approach to sales and just business in general from what a lot of people teach, and I think it's very successful.
How'd you learn that? Because that detachment is not easy to understand. It took me a while.
I'm so guarded with my reputation. I think like I realize how important reputation is in the agency space, especially with SEO, right? Like, when the SEO space, it's essentially a scam for a lot of people get scammed in the SEO space. So I guess I just realized early on that like it's important to just be a little bit different and provide a really good service and build that reputation, because if you have that reputation on your side, if you're that one agency that people go to and actually get results, it's a total game changer, right? So that's one big thing for me is I'm very guarded with my reputation. Number 2, I can't live with myself if I'm not getting results. Like, when a client is not getting results, like, it eats at me. And so I want to make sure that the brands I bring on, they're brands that I actually think I can get results for. Because if I can't, like, I can't just, like, there are agencies that'll just bill people for 6 months and they'll get nothing. Like, they do that. Like, that's just how it works. But I can't do that. You know, I can't sit there and look at no results and be happy with that, right? That, like, eats at me and it bothers me too. So I guess, like, with those two things, it makes it a little bit easier.
What do you think it bothers you more than the other guys in the space?
Um, I think a lot of it is that, like, I've made so much money from this and I don't want it to be taken away from me, you know? And, like, a reputation is, you get a bad reputation, it gets taken away from you. Like, look at that one email marketing guy. I forget his name, but do you remember the email marketing guy on Twitter who was editing his screenshots and
Oh,
stuff?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to name the names because he already got crushed from it. But this guy also copied my entire email flow. He copied all my shit basically, which is, you know, that's what happens, right? That right there showed the type of person he was. The fact that he copied my entire thing and then just republished it for his audience. But, you know, he was making a ton of money. I know for a fact he was not making small money. He was making big money, and he threw it all away for nothing. You know, I'm pretty sure he actually got results. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, he got, like, maybe not the best results. I've definitely seen people complain about him, but, like, he got, like, decent results, and he threw it all away for nothing, right? Now his reputation is ruined, and, you know, I'm sure he gets clients here and there, but I don't think it's anywhere near what it was before, right? So I see stuff like that, and that scares me. I'm just like, I can never fall to, like, the dark side, right? And start just trying to, like, bring on clients and do, like, a volume game, right? Like, I can't do that because it's too dangerous. And then on the other side, like, bro, I have 50 clients right now that I work with. I don't want any more. Like, you know, naturally in the agency space, you have about a 10% churn rate. That's just what the numbers say, right? We have clients churn for reasons completely unrelated to results. Like, our clients, most of them get really, really good results, right? But guys quit for cash flow reasons, or like, hey, we need to take this money and put it into inventory for this month, or hey, we migrated our website and we need to pay some more money to get the migration fixed up, and, you know, we know that organic traffic's going to tank for a little bit and we want to kind of divert that budget. So people quit for just completely unrelated reasons. So you have that churn rate. So for me, like, my whole focus is just to, like, kind of keep us at 50 clients and just bring on clients to, you know, reduce that churn. So with that in mind, I don't need to bring on like 10 clients in a month or something like that, right? That's not what I'm about. I'm bringing on, you know, a couple clients every month and setting them up for success. So it's like, I don't need to be scummy and just be like, okay, 6, 7, 8, like 10 clients a month and just bring on whoever. Like, I can really sit down and make sure that, you know, I'm bringing on guys who are a good fit.
Yeah, I guess MRR is sexier than revenue peaks, you know, because it keeps coming up.
Yeah, you know, MRR is a lot sexier than revenue, for sure. That's why, like, I hate it sometimes when guys want to pay, like, all their money up front. I know this is ridiculous.
Oh
but,
my God,
like,
dude, get over yourself.
I'm serious, dude. I'm serious. I'm being honest with you. Like, if someone, like, you know, like, I recently had a client, actually Brooke from Audacia. He has that coaching program. He, you know, he just wanted to pay like 3 months up front, and of course I did it. I was like, okay, that's fine. But, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, oh man, I wish I had that MRR. You know?
That's how you're thinking long term, though.
Huh?
That's how you know you're thinking long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's unrelated to you, man. I think a lot more people in this space need to hear this. Sometimes it's maybe they didn't respond to your message or your cold email, not because it was bad, but because they were struggling through something. You know, sometimes the reasons are unrelated to you. I had a client the other day, and he jumped in for like a few weeks and then just left. And I didn't like it, right? Because I was like, mate, what's wrong with like my service, my retention? There's something wrong with the onboarding. And after talking to him, maybe like 6 months later, he mentioned like, no, I was just getting a divorce. Like, nothing to do with me, you know? It's just nothing.
Totally, dude. Totally. I mean, like, Yeah, people. I think people forget, like, the mental strain that business puts on other people, and sometimes it forces them to draw back a little bit, right? Maybe they just don't have time to engage in your coaching or your services. Maybe, like, they have other things going on in their life. So you're right. A lot of times it really has nothing to do with them, and sometimes that's why I don't like to push. Sometimes maybe someone is stressed out, right? Maybe someone, like for me, maybe they had a really bad month of Facebook ads, right? And they know they need to invest in SEO, but they're just not comfortable yet until they can fix that problem, so they know how they have the cash flow for it, right? So it's like there's a million things that really have nothing to do with you.
What's the play with the new SEO course you launched? Which, by the way, I saw blew up your DMs and it got them locked out, so you had to plug it in below.
Oh, dude, it was yeah, that thing blew up. Truthfully, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's just a funnel to book calls for me. Like, that's all. That's all. I mean, like, obviously, like, the stuff I talk about on Twitter, I try to give as much value as possible. Um, but the truth is that with SEO, there's so many nuances that I can't teach. There's so many little things that make a difference in a campaign where, like, you know, I can't teach it because it's so dependent on each individual campaign, and it's something I just have a sixth sense for. Just because I've been doing SEO for over 10 years now. I started this stuff when I was like 13, and I'm 27 now, turning 28 in July. So, like, I've been doing this for like almost 15 years at this point. So it's like when you've been doing something for so long, again, you kind of have that sixth sense for stuff. So when I build out these like courses or I do threads and stuff like that, I try to give kind of a general overview of SEO. But I mean, and people can implement it. I mean, I know a lot of people who have implemented my stuff and had a lot of success for their brands. But I've also seen that people kind of plateau because they miss out on a lot of those little small details, because SEO is all in the details, right? So when I release these courses and threads and stuff like that, I try to give people like a general picture so they can kind of understand SEO. But then, of course, I'm trying to get clients for my agency too.
Are you? Because I've kind of shifted my perspective a little bit on this. Before I thought just give everything away and then people will come to you. Now I'm more of
Yeah.
a believer of like give the framework away, but there's some secret sauce that does need to be kept behind bars. Right now I'm thinking this I may change in a year, but what's your take on that one?
I agree with you. I definitely keep stuff. I keep a lot of big stuff that I like, because I know people are always asking me about like content on collection pages and how to do link building and like, how to like structure keywords and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot that I keep. I'm not going to lie. Like, I give kind of like the easy stuff away to help kind of the beginners understand SEO and the general framework. But yeah, I don't give away the secrets.
Yeah, it's good. It's good though because
Yeah.
I'm guessing your feed is a lot of SEO guys, and if you drop like this one thing, then everybody does it, right? And it's like, oh man, like
It's so funny because like I see like a lot of like competitors start popping up that are kind of doing what I'm doing, and like their tweets are the same. Like, it's the same, like it's the same structure as mine. It's the same overall process as mine that I've kind of like talked about on Twitter, and I'm cool with it. Like, I don't care. That's just the name of the game, right? When you're successful at something, you're gonna have competitors pop up and start kind of mimicking you. But it's just funny. It's just funny to see, and I always wonder. I'm like, ooh, maybe I gave away a little bit too much because I have competitors who are running like very similar strategies. Of course, it's not going to be as good, right? Because I'm the best JK, of course, right? But
clearly.
but but that's the thing, man, is that when you're trying to build a name for yourself, and when you're trying to sign clients and stuff like that, you have to provide value. You have to go out and you have to give people value that sometimes maybe they can't find on Google, or stuff that separates you from a lot of those other guys. So I think it is important to you know put out maybe some of the secrets, but not all of them.
I'm actually curious on this. Like, what do you draw the line? What do you draw the line between what's shareable and what's not? Like for me, I
um
don't share scripts that
yeah.
like specific words used to send to people on DMs because I'm big on the just like DM game. I don't share any of that because I know that some kid from India or Guatemala is gonna take it and use it without context, right? And then it's just like, no, it's not gonna happen. But what do
Yeah.
you draw the line?
I draw the line with stuff that I figure out myself. So stuff that is available online, I will share that stuff. I mean, of course, this is all tactics that I use, right? But I'm more comfortable sharing the stuff that's easily Googleable and just sharing it in a very easy to comprehend manner, right? But the little secrets that I've developed myself that are not online, that I've done, that I know works because I've tested it, I keep that stuff to myself.
Okay. I like
Yeah.
that. I think that's a huge jump. Like I wanted to repeat it. You draw the line on the things you uncover by yourself.
Yes,
I think that's
exactly.
great. I think that's really good.
That's my stuff. Those are my secrets that like, there's and SEOs do the same thing, right? You look online and like their blogs and articles about SEO are so general and so basic because they're not going to talk about the stuff that works themselves. The stuff that I find that works, I share that with other SEOs, right? Like Charles Float, I talk to him, once every couple months and we jump on a call and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing that's working. He tells me the stuff that he's doing that's working. And we help each other, right? And we help each other grow kind of as SEOs. Like he's helped me so much over the years. But that stuff, we kind of keep that from the public. Like I know Charles, I shared something with him that made the traffic for one of his sites just absolutely skyrocket, right? I think he shared it on Twitter and it got a ton of engagement and stuff like that. And he was just like, hey, Keval showed me this strategy and like this is what happened when I implemented it. Everyone's like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And Charles is like, I can't tell you, like it's like that stuff that we gotta keep to ourselves.
Yeah, I feel like it's just what we gotta do. Because if not, then I don't know. It's hard to come
And
up
dude,
with stuff on your own that really works, and you have to test it. Maybe not hard, but it takes a while. But like my
yeah.
DM script, I had to spend like fucking hours on coaching calls with sales guys that do cold calling for like real estate shit, right? So I needed
Exactly.
that. It takes a
It's
long time.
it's too important to give away. I mean, I'll give you like so the strategy I told Charles, it's like it's huge. And I was approached by this really big watch company recently called Bob's Watches. They're massive watch company. I'm sure people who like buying Rolexes in this space, I'm sure they've heard of them because they're like one of the bigger Rolex dealers in the world. And they came to me and they're like, like we need help with SEO. Our traffic is declining. And the strategy that I told Charles is a strategy that's going to fix their site. I was like, oh my God, I know what to do. Like, this is easy. I can do this. But there's no other agencies that can do that because this is something that I figured out myself. This is not a strategy that's online. This is something that I've been in the trenches and I've tested things and I've helped clients get a lot of money through this one particular strategy. And I know this is going to help this brand. And like, why would I give that away? Why would I give away a strategy that can make a company millions for free? So it's stuff like that, and it sucks, but I know it sucks for like audiences and people want to learn, but like that's just kind of how the game works, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
a
feel
lot
like
of
it's
you
more
guys
like
won't.
it's like
Mhm.
if you're like a chef, right? Like you could give people
Yeah,
what ingredients does your sauce have, but the way you
yeah,
really cook a good sauce is by the quantity of each ingredient. The quantity is what people
hmm
pay for. But you can give out the ingredients
yeah.
for free, but not the quantities. That's secret.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. And I used to think if you give the sauce away for free, people will pay you to cook it for them. But it's not quite true. Some people just don't pay you to cook it for them. But I feel
Some
like
people.
if you tell them what, but not like the very specific how, they
hmm
want to come back for more, and they do come back for more.
That's essentially what it is. You're absolutely right. But here's the counterpoint that I'm curious to hear your take on, right? What if you give away everything for free, right? But then the companies who are legitimate companies will come to you because they're CEOs and they don't have time to do it, right? Whereas those one man operations that are probably not super high quality clients, those are the guys that have time to do it and they don't come to you anyways. Does that make sense? Where like you're kind of separating it, where like you have the high end prospects who don't have time. They're high end, and because they're high end, they don't have time to do it themselves. And you have the low end prospects who are low end because they have the time to do it themselves. So you end up filtering those guys out, and you bring on the high end prospects anyways, because they're busy running their business.
It might, and You
Yeah.
know, I kind of had like an experience that I made me not want to do that. And it was when I
Yeah.
was a ghostwriter, I gave away the script I used to pitch to ghostwriter clients. And
Mhm.
maybe 4 months ago, you probably had this, man. I'm pretty sure you had this. Somebody pitched you with this. Hey, I sent you 5 tweets and I blurred out the names, but if you want it, I can send it to you. Let me know. It was something like that. That was like the outbound script.
Yeah.
And all the ghostwriters, like the newbie ghostwriters, started using it. And then people were like, JK, like, dude, you taught these guys wrong. Like, you fucked it up. Like, these are your children now. I'm like, no, dude, this is just the thing I used. But because our space can be so niche, it just
Yeah.
didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. So I stopped
Yeah.
giving away specifically scripts. I'm okay with giving away maybe if I'm writing and I'm recording myself and explaining my thought process, I'm fine with that. But giving scripts away specific like outbound, I don't know, it's just not something I'm comfortable with.
I think scripts is something that like you definitely don't want to give away because like the thing is with scripts, once they become saturated, they start to lose their value then, right? Because
Yeah.
the thing that gets someone with a script is that it's new. It's like, oh wow, like this I've never seen this before. Like this is actually a good approach. I like this. I like this approach. I'm going to respond to this person. But if you're using a script that's successful and you give it away and 100 people, and I see that in my DMs 100 times, it loses its value, and I just become blind to it. You know?
Yeah, it's pattern interrupt. It's people are not used to seeing, like when you interrupt the pattern. Like, there you go. When you interrupt the pattern, it catches attention. Like for you, when you are on a sales call and you don't try to push it or hard sell them, they're like, what? And they're like interested in it, right? So a lot of the scripts, like the techniques, are based on pattern interrupt. And if everybody's interrupting the pattern, it becomes a pattern. So I can't just give it away. It needs to be only for like specific people.
Yeah.
But I wanted to shift the gears a little bit, man, and I need to talk about your landing page. How did that landing page come to be, man? I love that landing page. It's the sickest thing I've ever seen. Like for everybody listening, Keval's landing page is, and I still know it because I reference it so often on calls. It's schedule a call for SEO consultation services, and it's a calendar. It's just a calendar, and that is the landing page. I need to talk about that. How did that come to be?
Man, okay, I'll be real with you. Like I created that when I first started. And I mean nowadays, right, if I create that landing page again, it'd be different. It'd have testimonials, it'd have like case studies, this, that, a whole, outline of it. But bro, it works. It works. Like I still book calls. Like I booked 12 calls last week. I booked 12 calls the week before. I booked 12 calls the week before that. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter because people know I got the sauce because I post it. People know I can get results. I'm proven in that manner. So it's like, I guess maybe when you're first starting off and people don't know who you are, then maybe you have to like jack up the landing page again. But bro, like I'm so detached from it. Like I just don't care if people sign or not. I don't care if people book calls or not. And like that's just like kind of the vibe I give off when I get on calls with people. I'm just like, okay, you don't want to do it, that's fine. I got 12 other calls, bro. Like someone else is gonna I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm not gonna push you either. This is like either do it or don't. Like I don't care. I'm not gonna follow up with you a million times. Like I'll just get someone else. And so I think that mentality is also shown on that landing page too, where it's like book or don't. And when you're so detached from the outcome, when you're so just not pushing, you're so hands off, and you're just like abundance. I can sign I can sign as many clients as I want. My DMs are popping. I got referrals coming in. Like you just have that mentality, and it just it draws people in even more.
Yeah, dude, it's a big dick landing page. I use that landing page to paint a very specific point to everybody, and it's that your offer is not as important as your reputation. Because there is no offer on that landing page. It's just SEO services. It's because Keval is offering it. That's important. It's because Keval is offering that people will book a call because they know what you can do. It's not just the offer. It's who is offering it that's important. So when people go and spend 3 months, I'm in the process of crafting an offer. Like, dude, like look at what Keval's doing. It's not as important as people knowing you are that guy. That's what I try to tell people.
Become that guy. That's all it is. It's as simple as that. And dude, I've been on Twitter. I didn't realize, but it's 2023. I started my agency in 2019. So I've been doing this thing for almost 4 years now. It's like it's kind of it's just a time game. That's what I always tell people is that like success and notoriety, it's all just a product of time, right? Like if you look at my MRR graph, like when I first started, it took me like 6 months to hit 10K per month. 6 months of just me posting content into just a void, into nobody seeing any of my shit, right? I just kept doing it. And then you get a client and you get them results and you post those results and then it just snowballs from there, right?
Right.
People trusting you. And then, 4 years in, it's like, now it's like I get a lot of referrals from just people on Twitter who are agency guys, right? Like agency guys who are running Google ads, guys who are running email marketing. They're like, hey man, like I have a client who needs SEO and they just know who I am because they've been seeing my content for so long. They know that I get results. And then so like people just book calls with me through that too. So it's like, yeah, I mean like it really is just a time game. If you just kind of stick with it and just keep going, even when it's like kind of slow, like, I mean, how many people stick to it for 4 years, right? Like where does that graph start dropping off? It's probably like after a month it starts tanking. Maybe after 3 days it starts dropping off, right? The people who are consistent with something. So I mean, I think like I'm a case study of what happens when you just stick to something and just keep going.
When I was preparing for this call with you, I always look up the person's tweets that pass a certain threshold of likes, meaning that they're like your most popular tweets. And now it's a lot of SEO content, but the more I scrolled on your stuff, the more I found like from your story and like from you blowing up and your glow up and whatnot. And I was like, dude, was Keval like this motivation guy before? And it was just because those were the only things that got engagement. You were still posting about SEO back then, but people didn't like it. But you still stuck to it, and now it kind of reversed. Now it's the SEO things that get more likes. Like that was just curious to see.
You're right. It's super funny to see, because there was a time period, bro, when I was booking calls without even writing about SEO. I'm not gonna lie. Like I would say, just in the last 6 months to a year, I started posting more serious SEO content that started getting engagement. But I'm actually going to flip it. No, I'm not going to flip it back, but I want to start talking about more personal stuff and being more real. I am always real on Twitter, but just talking more about my personal life on Twitter just because it's something I enjoy. I think it connects. I think it makes you a real person to other people and helps you connect with them. But you are correct about that for sure, in the sense that there was a time when I was posting more personal stuff and that got a lot of engagement. And then the SEO stuff didn't. And now the SEO stuff gets a lot of engagement, right? When I write personal stuff, people are just like, what are you doing, right? But you think I book more calls now or before? I book a lot more calls now that I'm posting SEO stuff, right? So, yeah, I mean, like, you can definitely get away with, like, just posting. Like, you don't have to do the personal stuff on Twitter, is what I've noticed. But I just enjoy it. It makes it. I like it. Like, I've always told people that I kind of treat Twitter like my journal. My personal journal that's just like public online. So I'll post personal stuff that's on my mind, like lessons about life I learn. And I do it just because I like it, not because I know it's going to book me calls, right? Like I think last year on my birthday, I wrote this really big thread that got like 1,000 likes on just like kind of like what I've learned in online business the last 10 years. And I was like really raw and honest about it, about like my learnings and like my struggles and my successes and stuff like that. And it didn't book me any calls. I got like 500,000 views, booked me no calls at all, but it made me feel good. I felt like I was connecting with my audience. So I think with Twitter, like you should definitely post the content that gets you calls too, but like don't be afraid to have fun with it and like use it as a community tool too, right? Because like, yeah, sure, Twitter makes me money, but for me, it's a lot more than that. I get to connect with people, like-minded people that help me in business. One of my really good friends, I met him on Twitter. Like it's his name is Deep. I signed him years ago as a client, okay? He was my first 10K a month deal. I remember when I signed him. And like, I couldn't believe that I had signed someone for 10K a month for SEO. This is a while back. Now we've gone to Vegas together. I'm at home right now visiting my parents. He flew out to Baltimore and he drove to my house yesterday. He met my parents and then we went out to dinner. So think about it. It's like this guy from Twitter who I signed for 10K a month. Now he's meeting my parents and we're hanging out. We're going on trips and stuff like that. But that's because I use Twitter to like also build relationships with people too. It's not just the money. It's like there's a relationship aspect to it that often translates into money too. But it's also just fun too. Like, right, we're humans. We're living life. We're trying to connect with people, have fun and stuff. So I try to use Twitter for both.
Yeah, and that is the right way to say it. I love this tweet from Matthew Kovac. He said that LinkedIn is a networking conference, but Twitter is the bar after the conference where you actually network. And I think that's so true.
That's a great.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And that's how I think about it, because you and I, like, our mutual connection is Ryan and Ben, right? And I met those guys just fucking around and talking about Ukraine, you know? I won't get into details, but you know what I mean. And we just started talking about it, and now we're here. But when you talk about being more real, you're a different kind of Twitter account in the sense that I get the vibe from you that obviously you work hard, you play hard, but you also rest hard. So because you're like, yeah, I'm playing Call of Duty. Like, oh yeah, I'm just going to Starbucks to get my mocha, right? I'm like, yeah, this guy gets it. He rests hard.
I'm a real person, bro. I play Call of Duty. I mean, I didn't play Call of Duty with Ryan and Ben in a while, but anytime the new COD game's out, we're on Warzone every day, dude. We skip work to play Warzone together. You know, like we're just trying to have fun.
Wait, Ryan skips work to play Warzone?
Hell yeah, he does. I'm gonna out him right now.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna ping him. Okay, I gotta talk to him.
Yeah, man. Like we'll be like, okay, like 2:00 Warzone. Actually, maybe not so much Ryan. More Ben. More Ben.
Oh my god.
More Ben.
So for context, I work with these guys. Like just for context, I love them, by the way. They're incredibly high performance, but I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah. I think people get into business and they're just like money, 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 grind, 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 grind. But bro, you'll burn out. Like I burned out so many times. You know, there's like I went through so many situations where I just like I'm gonna scale this thing to $1 million a month, or I'm gonna scale this thing to 500K per month, and then I'm just like, why? Like, why would I do that? Like, number one, I'm gonna have to manage this huge ass team, which is gonna be a pain. Number two, the client results are not gonna be as great because I have to, like, I can't oversee like hundreds of accounts, right? And then number three, like my mental just goes out of whack. Like my lifestyle is not there, and then like also like I'm at 200K a month right now, but like if I jack it up to 500K a month, like what does that do for me, bro? I spend 10K a month right now as it is. Like what is another 300K gonna do for me? Like I don't even need the money that I make right now. So it's like I try to like keep a balance and just remember that, like, you know, like we're all gonna die eventually, right? Like what's the point of like grinding all day to make all this extra money that you don't need? Why not just make the money that you know is gonna satisfy you, and then spend the rest of the time and just enjoy life and have fun and meet people and like just do whatever you want. Go skiing, go to UFC events, go to the Super Bowl, just like enjoy it. You know, what's the point of making all this money if you can't enjoy it?
Here's an interesting one for you, because when I got to 5K a month, I was like, dude, I'm set. Right, because I used to make $250 a month. When I got to 5K, I'm like, dude, this is everything. But now it's like, I just want more. Now, I read on your thread, your birthday thread, actually, some of your lessons. You mentioned that 0 to 20K a month was kind of the most fulfilling and was one of the happiest. Do you think that that person would say the same thing you're saying today, as in, bro, why would I scale to 200K a month if 20K a month is enough? Do you think you'd say that back then?
Mm-mm. No, not back then. Because back then, like, we go through, it's like a parabola of how I describe it, right? So when you first start off, you want just as much money as possible, right? So when I was at 20K, I was still kind of on the upwards of the parabola, right? So when you're on that upwards of the parabola, you're thinking, I want to be a multi-millionaire. I want to have Lambos. I want to have houses. I want to have Rolexes, this, that. Like, you just, like, you have all these things that you want, right? And then you kind of get to the top of the parabola where, like, I was at 200K per month. Like, I got the car I wanted. I got the Rolex. Like, I'm taking trips. I'm spending 10K for a Super Bowl ticket, right? Like, I'm living in, like, a 5 to 6K a month apartment, right? And then you're kind of just like, okay, all these things are great, but they don't really fulfill me anymore. And, like, by trying to make more money, I'm just doing it so I can get more of these things, right? More watches, more cars, more, houses, stuff like that. And I can't speak for everyone, but like when I reached that point, I was like, okay, this doesn't really make me super happy. Like this doesn't do anything for me. Like I don't even wear my watch anymore. Like I don't even take it out 'cause I just don't care about it.
Was it like a
And
moment that taught you that, or is it like progressive?
I think it was definitely progressive, but I do remember one particular moment where like I had just brought on like too many clients and everything was too hectic and I didn't have the infrastructure for it and I was like kind of freaking out. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to run this agency anymore. It stopped being fun. That's the moment when it kind of hit me, when things stopped being fun, and I was like, I need to draw things back a little bit and kind of get back to, who I really am. And who I really am is not trying to buy all these watches and cars and trying to project this lifestyle. I'm not trying to be that guy on Instagram that's like flexing money and stuff like that. Because you'll notice I don't really flex on Twitter anymore. I don't really flex like material possessions I have. The things I really flex are just like life lessons and client results and stuff like that. That's pretty much all I do. So there was definitely a moment kind of when I was at the top of the parabola where I was just like, yo, this is stupid. Like, why am I doing all this? Why am I trying to, make all this money to show off to people I don't care about, people from college and people in high school. Why am I making this money to show off to them? They're not even in my life anymore. So you kind of hit that moment and you have to do a lot of self-reflection. And then that's when you realize that like, maybe it's not so much about all these material things. Maybe I didn't need all this stuff in the first place. Maybe I don't need $1 million a month. Maybe I'm just happy at 200K per month, right? Which is like great money for anybody. And then you kind of settle a little bit. Then you start falling down the parabola and you're like, okay, maybe I don't need to scale it more. Maybe I'm happy with just having 50 clients and getting them amazing results and, making the money I do, but then also working on building really good relationships and friendships with people. So I think it's about like a year-long learning process. It's not really like a flip that's switched. It's kind of something where you realize, and then it kind of starts drawing you back in, and you become kind of who you really are once you've seen kind of that other side.
Do you think you're gonna, it's ever gonna like stretch, like it's gonna come back at you? I'm like, man, maybe I could scale this thing and go grow it past it. Do you think you're ever gonna get that like urge?
I go back and forth a lot, man. A lot.
Yeah.
But, what I realize is that when I do start scaling and then I do see the work it takes to manage a team and, make sure clients get results and communicating with clients and stuff like that. And like, I just don't want to do it. I'm just like, I think I've hit a level where I'm just like pretty content with it. And I do want to get into some coaching stuff soon.
There
I
you
see
go.
what you Yeah, that's the thing is that like I wanna get into some other businesses too. I like what I've done in the agency space. I'm gonna continue taking on clients and making sure they get success and stuff like that. But I'm the type of person that gets bored easily. And if I keep doing the same thing over and over again, I go a little bit crazy. So I am starting to get to the point where I'm just like, okay, I want to release like a high ticket group for like guys who are like serious about learning SEO and doing some coaching and teaching them. And I think that could be a lot of fun for me, a good like kind of next step. So rather than like scaling this one business, I want to start